Welcome to the Core Truth. I'm Peter Hernandez, your host, and today I have JD Diaz here with me from Las Vegas. Welcome to the Core Truth, JD.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And good morning.
Good morning. It's great to have you, man.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
so, JD, I know we have a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a great conversation. But just so
Excited.
people can get to know you, let's hear a little bit about your background and how you got into real estate and whatever you want to tell us that might be interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So, born and raised in San Diego. Obviously, San Diego being a beautiful place. I had the pretty much quintessential childhood, sandlot and experience. So every morning, rode my bike, played sports, played baseball, played football. Anything that involved the ball, I was all about. So that was kind of my childhood. It was great. Um, and as I got older into high school kind of thing, I felt like I knew a lot of people. I kind of wanted to reinvent myself. So at that time, my parents decided, hey, I think we want to retire in Vegas because obviously retirement, tax friendly state, the whole deal, it makes sense. And so they went to Las Vegas. And while they were there, I visited them. And I kind of ventured myself out in Vegas to see what's all about. And I kind of fell in love with Vegas. And this was back in 2006 and 5. So it was early Vegas. It wasn't the pre-boom. It
Mhm.
wasn't a pre-boom. And so I kind of was like, hey, I see potential in what the city has to offer. So I ended up going to San Diego State and then transferring to UNLV, University of Nevada of Las Vegas. At that time, my girlfriend was actually now my wife was in hospitality, and I told her I was like, hey, let's maybe move to Vegas. And she's like, of course, that's my degree. It makes sense to go to Vegas. And it's like, all right, let's do it. So we moved to Vegas. We both went to UNLV, and our goal, like everyone else in Vegas, is to go there, get experience, and ultimately come back. And so we never left. I mean, we got jobs out of college, and during that time, during the 2007-8, that was recession time. So for us to get a job right out of college was great. If you remember that time during real
Mhm.
estate, almost every other home was foreclosed on or short sailed in Vegas. I mean, we were hit it the hardest, us and Arizona, Texas, and Florida, but we were hit very hard. So at the same time, we were able to buy a home at an early age too, really early. So which is great. And after I got my degree, I got a good internship for a company called GES. It was a trade show company here in Vegas. They did all the big trade shows. So CES, Consumer Electronics Show, Magic, Clothing Expos. I did marketing for them. I was there for several years, and then I ended up getting headhunted for a marketing job at Shea Homes. Shea Homes is a national known builder, a private held builder on the West Coast, predominantly the West Coast, now on the East Coast now, part of their active adult brand, the Trilogy brand. So I did marketing for them. And while I was there, that's when I fell in love with real estate. I learned
Mhm.
how to market real estate. I knew more about real estate. And while I was in there, I got the bug in a sense like, hey, I love marketing. I love doing what I was doing, but I felt my cup wasn't getting full. In a sense, I was behind the desk doing great projects, but I wasn't feeling just validated on my natural gifts,
Mhm.
which is talking to people. That's what drives me. So I approached my GM at the time. I said, hey, I kind of want to think about selling new homes. And so he's like, tell you what, we'll pay for you to get your license. We can cross train you. And then you can help support us when it comes to busy events, grand openings. And I did just that. And then at that time, I approached my wife. I was like, I think I want to sell new homes. And she was like, I always believed in you. She was my biggest supporter. She's like, I know you can do it, but you have to do it for yourself. And so I jumped in, and one of my first days, I sold two homes, and I was like, all right, this is what I need to be doing. But at the same time, that I knew my discolor, my color, and that's what filled my cup was to really talk to people,
Mhm.
work with people, build relationships, and that's why I think my natural ability came into play and how I came into real estate.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, you talk about, before the boom, but actually, when I think about Las Vegas, there's been a few booms. I mean, the Rat Pack
Correct.
era. So talk to us a little bit about
Yeah.
Las Vegas and the various booms and kind of the cycle of its growth and where we're at today with it.
Correct. One of the first booms, obviously the Right Pack time, and then the '90s, where one of the first booms took place, where people that became a top retiree area, right, for taxes, weather, you name it. And that's what it became. Sun City became that brand in Las Vegas. We have several Sun City communities for active adult. So that did really well. And then people started buying homes like by droves, investors. I mean, builders were giving crazy incentives. If we remember, you buy a home, you get a free car. And it was nuts. People were really coming to Vegas for that reason. And then of course the recession hit, and that's when it went really south. I mean, that was in 2006, 2009. I mean, like I said, everything was being foreclosed on, short sale. It was just a scary time. But
Mhm.
luckily for me, I was getting my first job, so it really didn't affect me too much. But I saw the potential. But Vegas for a long time was a very transient place. You come here for a short period of time and people will take off. but they didn't have any hard feelings for taking off because they didn't build those relationships. For a long time, you would literally drive in your garage, close your garage, and you never knew your neighbor. It was kind of like, I live in Vegas, but that was it. What happened on October 1st of 2017, remember, the infamous day of the shooting in Las Vegas, that was really kind of the turning point for Vegas. We had our inaugural season for Las Vegas Golden Knights, our first professional sports team ever. For a long time, Vegas didn't really band around. We didn't band together for something. For a long time, it was UNLV basketball. That was kind of our thing. We did well. We won a national championship. So we had our place when it came to college sports, but we never had a sports team like a professional sports team. And that first year, if you remember, we had 9 straight wins. It was amazing. We honored the heroes, the people we lost on the first day. It was such an emotional day for Las Vegas. It was huge. I mean, I'm getting chills just talking about it. But then it really showed that we were a community at that point. We were fighting for something at that point. And that, remember that, if you remember too, we actually went to the Stanley Cup our first season as well. So that really transformed Vegas. We were doing better and better as we went on, but that really solidified Vegas as now an ultimate community. Nope, I don't hear you.
I muted for a second.
Recording
from home, and the dogs occasionally are going to bark, so I had to mute. But talk about Vegas real quickly in terms of sport teams, because and maybe even the Sphere, or just a couple of the highlights, just so people can understand why Vegas is really maybe the booming real estate market of the country right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you know, back when I said Vegas never had a professional sports team, we would have exhibition games and whatnot, and we saw interest there. And some bright minds like Bill Foley said, hey, I think Vegas is a great destination for sports. And that's what we started to do with hockey, which is crazy. The first sports ever was ice in the desert, and it was hockey. But it took off. It was huge. I mean, the stands were filled every single day. We were winning, of course. So that, like I said, created that spirit and of the community. And then everything followed suit. The Oakland Raiders came through. The Las Vegas Aces come through. Oakland A's are coming through. And now we're looking for an NBA expansion team. Then, of course, we hosted the NFL Super Bowl, then F1 racing. I mean, it was just a snowball effect. In the last 5 years, we went from no teams to having 5 professional sports teams. I mean, it's incredible what we've done here in Vegas. And, of course, the monuments from the Sphere, that big dome that went viral for sure. U2's performed there, other concerts. They just announced that I think the Eagles are going to be playing there soon. Beyonce's coming soon. So that's the Sphere in itself. It's one of a kind. I mean, it's massive. It's beautiful. Also a great marketing opportunity as well. But it's really shown with this national broadcast of what we're doing in Vegas. People are seeing Vegas can be a home as well. And that's what's really changed for the Vegas community too, that people are not proud of where we live, but people are staying here and really showcasing our city to what it is today.
So you get into real estate, your real estate career takes off, business just gets busier and busier. You have to, at that point, form the Diaz Lux Group. Talk to us a little bit about your group.
Yeah. So when I first started general real estate, I was by myself, and I thought you did everything by yourself. I think my first couple of years, I did 40 something transactions. I did all my documentation. I did even my own filming. I did everything myself. So for 2 reasons. First, I didn't know better. And second, I thought it'd be good to understand the whole process. So therefore, if I were to help bring someone onto my team, I knew exactly what I wanted them to do. Right. And so I was lucky to bring on my director of operations, Lara, at this point. She's part of my team. She's been with me for the majority of the Diaz Lux Group initiation or inauguration. But I knew I needed people to support me, whether it be for customer service, making sure we're hitting our deadlines, timelines, our marketing support, and really giving that customer experience. So I've had as much as 7 to 8 agents to a couple agents. As you know, things change, the market changes, and people have different ventures and different goals. But I think it's important, if you're looking to build yourself, to have people behind you, support you, of course, with the same vision that could ultimately make you a powerful, not only real estate agent, but real estate team, and of course, a career.
So give us the structure of your group right now. How many people, what they do? I mean, you've talked about it kind of generally, but get a little more specific.
Yeah. So for right now, it's obviously myself as a team lead. Then I have a director of operations. She does a lot of the back end stuff that makes me look good, whether it be my podcast stuff, my emails, campaigns, social media campaigns, follow-up testimonials, a lot of that stuff. There's a thing called working on your business and working in the business. So she's definitely working in the business, which is important too for us. And then I have one agent right now who is a newer agent, which we're going as a showing agent right now, that's helping free me up to do other things, whether it be ventures like this, more outreach, more meetings, more events, more partnerships. As I realize, as you go in your real estate career, you find out what you need, what's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that having the biggest team is at all and all be all. I don't think it's going to find the right people to accomplish what you're looking to do.
I love that. I love that. So I think real estate agents are finding more and more that social media is a great way to advertise property, a great way to show off your brand. Talk to us a little bit about your social media and even your podcast strategy.
Yeah. I think social media. It's funny. I'm a older millennial, so it wasn't all social media for me growing up. So it's definitely a newer thing. But I truly believe social media is like a living and breathing business card. Okay, back in the day, you would literally hand a business card and you would pray and hope they'd call you, and the odds of them throwing away was very, very high. So how could you stay in front of them with just initially meeting them? And that's literally giving your social handles at that point. As long as you execute social in the best way possible. I think, like I said, social media is a living, breathing business card as long as you post effectively, whether it be informational based, educational based. I believe in the 3 E's: entertainment, education, and engagement. And I think that's important for social media because you want people to be entertained. Obviously, if they're taking time away from their busy schedule to look on social media, they're looking for some kind of entertainment. At the same time, they'll offer some kind of education. So if they're following you as a real estate agent, provide information. They want to know market stats, market information, hot communities, new restaurants. They want to know that stuff. And also it goes to engagement. You want to engage with people too. People have comments and questions and all that stuff. You want to be that you're there for them. You're not just posting and just disappearing. You're like, hey, I'm also here as a resource. But I believe social media is super important if you do it effectively. And everyone has their own voice and their own direction, which is great. You have to be authentic too, which is important. But I believe social is definitely so important in today's age because everyone can Google you. And the more platforms you are on, the more they can see you, the more you're authentic, the more you're transparent. And I think people take that as credibility too, especially in our industry.
Yeah, I love that so much. You talked about your superpower as being the ability to talk and to that was where you found your power. Talk to us about how you tapped into your superpower and realized what it was and what you would recommend to aspiring agents that are trying to find their superpower.
Sure. I think one of my superpowers is definitely speaking. I think, but also another one is probably my curiosity. I think what I do really well is I'm curious in the sense of every time I meet someone, I want to know more about them. Obviously, our job as real estate professionals is to identify what we can do with them when it comes to real estate. But that's kind of surface level in my mind, in my thoughts. If you understand them more on a more curiosity level, you can find out more about them. The more you can find out about them, the more I know you can support them. And I think that's super important too. And I think that's one of my superpowers. It's just the curiosity. I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to know more.
How does that? I'm sorry to cut you short, but I think I don't want to miss my thought right now and forget it. Is how you're saying something that's just ringing truth bells. And what I mean is when you're interested in the other person, that's how you find out maybe the thing that's going to get them to list or the thing that's going to put the negotiation together. So talk to us a little bit about being curious and digging deeper and how you do that in a way that maybe not only do you get into relationship with that person better, but you discover things that are going to help you, meet their goals.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been to many listing appointments, which I'm sure you guys have too, where we don't talk about the home until like the very end because you're just talking to them like a person, finding more about them, being more curious. And then an hour goes by. Like, oh, that's right. I'm here to help you sell your home. Let's talk about that now, right? That before you know it, they have so much more comfort with you because you actually show interest. You show that you care, that they're not just a transaction, not just a number. They're actually a person. And once again, once you find out more about them, you can help them more understand obviously their goals. And that's super important too. There's no better feeling, as you know, Peter, when you talk to someone and they start cold and there's a high wall between you and them, and then you're slowly just chiseling that wall down. Before you know it, you become best friends. And that's your goal. Obviously, you have to become best friends, but they want to become a friend because they trust you. They trust you with such a big asset, right? So therefore, they have to have that trust and likability. You're going to be talking to them pretty often and pretty intimately. So they want them to have that relationship that's super strong because there might have parts where there are tough conversations, but if you're comfortable with that person, it should be easier to execute as well.
Did anybody help you figure out what your superpowers were? Or did you just somehow figure it out on your own?
Good question. I think people told me like slowly and small in different doses. It wasn't someone said, "Hey, this no." It's more just small things, and then I kind of collected over years and realized, okay, this all makes sense. I heard it from this person. I mean, it all kind of
Yeah.
came together, but it was not one person. It was definitely a multitude of things. Yeah.
So people just have to really pay attention and listen carefully and tap into it and work from your strengths, which I think is really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure it wasn't like immediate success. I'm sure you laid the foundation and did all the hard work. So how would you talk to people about finding success? How would you encourage people to find success? And what would you say helped you find your success?
Yeah, I think it's a Yeah, to your point, no story is overnight success. I truly believe in that, and goes to this, Peter. I think we have a problem with comparisons, right? I think that's one thing that I've learned in early that we compare ourselves to other people. Obviously, we have social media, which is great. We see other agents with obviously within our dear family who are just killing it. But we got to understand they're in a different point of their career as well, and we never saw the build up to where they're at today, right? And so we have our own success and what that looks like, but define your success. What does that look like, right? So therefore, because success to someone is completely something different for someone else, and that's fine. But identify what that is, and of course, shoot for that. And I think also too is to lay out your goals. What does that look like as well? To keep yourself accountable, to keep yourself growing. What is the next chapter? What does that look like? And if you're not hitting those goals, what do you need to do to get there? Or if someone's doing that, find out what they're doing to do that too. We don't need to recreate the wheel. We just got to identify how we can emulate that, but with our own authenticity. And that's important too. No one has the same business plan. No one has the same business structure. And I love it. Everyone's successful in their own way. We know agents who are super successful on the phone. We know agents who are super successful at open houses, right? And that's okay. But back to the first question, your superpower, find what works for you and kill it, and own it, and be that authority figure in what you do, right? And own it. Before you know it, success will build on itself and grow from there. But also believe in yourself. And that's a big thing too. Believe that you can do it. Imposter syndrome does happen for sure. It's a thing, but know that you are qualified, know you are worthy, and just continue to build on that.
I love that. Maybe instead of finding success, we should have finding your success because it is kind of
Yeah,
personal to each
it is.
individual. I love that.
It
The
is.
your is a
Yep.
very important part.
Yep.
A big piece of your platform is customer service,
Yep.
JD.
Yep.
Talk to us about how you developed your customer service strategy.
Yeah, I think customer service is extremely important in what we do. It's a very competitive field, so you got to stand out. And that, I think one of the big components is through customer service. And it doesn't start the day you shake hands, it starts prior to that. Your social media, your email campaigns, everything that goes out, that's part of your customer service. Obviously, you might say what you do customer services, but it's got to go through the whole transaction from start to finish. And it's got to be consistent along the way as well, right? And that's important. But I think by hiring a team can also help you with that too. We are only one person. If we're dealing with many clients, transactions, kind of thing, we want to make sure we're there for them. There's many of times where clients said, wow, am I the only person you're dealing with? Because you always answer my call. And the fact that they asked that question was great. That meant they felt they were special and then the only ones. And that's hard to do. Comes with time management, all that stuff, having a team, which is great. But I think customer service is really can set you apart too from start to finish. And of course, even after finish, moving forward. And that's when you supply information, market reports, all that stuff that you still care, period. And then know that your phone is always available, period, after the transaction.
I know a lot of agents, when they build out their customer service plan, they'll build it out in segments like, maybe the customer service they provide in a listing presentation, the customer service they provide during an escrow, the customer service they provide with a
Yep.
listing and how they market it. Did you think of it that way too? And do you have checklists and
Yeah.
is there consistency in what you do in every transaction and every situation?
Yeah, I think I owe that a lot to my new construction career path, as you will. They, what is love about new construction, they really teach you how to be dialed in when that comes and when it comes to play. From you're doing your presentations, you're doing your follow up, you're doing your emails, you're doing and escrow follow up as because if you remember you build a new home, it takes about 6 to 8 months to build a home. So you're actually talking to them pretty often on every milestone, from foundation to drywall to plumbing, whatever it may be. So you're really in touch with that person. For me, that just carried over to general real estate. Like, cool, the more touch points I can have with someone, the better it is because they'll feel comfortable through the process. There was less questions to be involved because I feel like, hey, I don't really have to talk to Jay too much because he keeps sending me emails or updates or texts or calls, whatever it may be, and that's important. So letting the customer be in the know is consistent. But that's where I've learned a lot of my skill set for touch points or customer service through new construction, which really I think sets me apart as well.
No, I've always said that the best agents worked for a developer once. And the
Okay.
reason is the developers are so demanding. And
Yep.
why are they demanding? Because they're on the interest rate clock.
Yeah.
And every day that goes by, they're losing money.
Yep.
So they are very, very exacting, aren't they, in terms of what they want you to
100%.
do in the fall? I mean, how many developers have said to you, JD, call that client again, even though you told them a zillion times they weren't interested,
100%.
right?
So it's, yeah, you're good and bad. You're under a microscope for them. They track your activities. You know, the
Mhm.
Salesforce, they track your calls, your emails, kind of thing. Obviously, their goal is to make you sell homes, right? So yes, they're on top of you. But if you learn that at an early age with new construction, it kind of tailors over well to general
Mhm.
real estate. But no, I think I guess I can't. I tell a lot of people if you can do new construction first before general real estate, it's a great opportunity.
Great opportunity.
You learn so much, and I think the biggest thing too is scripting and also home demonstration. I think that's what they teach you so well.
Mhm.
Because for Shay at least, I had to learn like a 32-page script from
Mhm.
start to finish. And so that just literally translated to general real estate. That's really helped me so much.
That's great. What advice would you give agents today in terms of, I don't know, either like what do you think the top things? I guess what should agents be thinking and doing right now, in your opinion?
Yeah. I think, well, I mean, because of the market, whatnot, I think it starts with the basics. I can't express how enough the basics are so important, creating that foundation. And that's making the calls, networking, passing on your business cards, doing those basics to create that foundation. Because right now, let's be honest, it's not a big buyer market right now. There's low inventory, there's higher rates, right? But what I truly say and truly believe is that we can't control the market, but we can control our activities, and that's
Mhm.
going to help us for longevity, long-term career growth, right?
Mhm.
So if we're not doing it right now, because we can't force anyone to buy a home right now, we can't force anyone to sell right now, but if we continue to do our activities, when that time comes, it will come tenfold. So therefore we are running already because we're already in that mode of
Mhm.
everything did prior to that, to the obviously active season as well. But I can't express how important it is to be is to your daily activities, because it's hard when things are not turning as much as you want. It's easy to kind of walk away and do something else. I get it. I get it. But
Mhm.
if you can be dialed in right now, most people are not dialed in. So when the time comes, you're running.
I love that. I love that. So, what are your thoughts on the market while we're talking about it?
Yeah, I think the market is interesting, especially here in Vegas. I can't talk obviously nationwide, but we have low inventory here. Well, obviously we have high rates that are supposed to drop earlier, but they said they might drop 3 times at the end of the year, so we shall see. But with that being said, you got to do your activities. Period on the with what's going on in the market right now. But Vegas, we're lucky. We still have new construction options. We still have resale options, so we have that going for us.
Mhm.
Builders are really taking advantage of that right now. They're offering amazing incentives and concessions for rate buy downs, closing cost support, upgrades, and options. So they'll really know that this is the market they want to tackle because of what's going on right now. But if you have a home to sell that's priced well in a great market and turnkey, the odds of your home selling in the first 14 days is extremely, extremely high. If it needs work or whatnot, it's hard for a buyer to come in premium rate that needs work. It's a hard pill to swallow right now. So if it's turnkey, good air, the odds of selling pretty high is or a good price is relatively high. We for Vegas have a big influx of people moving here still. Obviously, a lot from our neighboring state of California, Peter. About 38% coming from California. Last year, over 70,000 people came through to Vegas. So we still have that healthy growth here, and that's helping our job growth here as well. And just announced yesterday, our Las Vegas Hollywood is coming to fruition. $1.8 billion project with Sony Pictures, the help and lead of Mark Wahlberg here. So Vegas is transforming into that too. We're also relocating a lot of different CEOs who want to take advantage of the tax benefits of Vegas. So we're lucky that we have these great things happening here to help our growth be consistent.
Love that. I love that. So what's next for JD? What's the future for you?
Oh man, it's funny. People always ask, what's your 5-year, 10-year plan? I'm not gonna lie, I take it more of a year plan in a sense because I know I can manage that. When it comes to 5 years, I can't control the market in 5 years. I don't know that far ahead, right? So I know I'm gonna work hard for 5 years, but I rather do a year segment to see what's my next goal, and that's kind of how I put it together. But for me, is honestly making my team be one of the strongest teams here in Las Vegas. I have one of the best customer service, one of the best marketing plans, and really be the go-to person when it comes to athlete relocation, influencers here in Las Vegas too. I have great network and connections through that, and I want to build on that. I think Vegas is a wonderful spot for that, especially with the new teams coming through here. So my goal is to become that person, to really give the red carpet service, a white glove treatment for everyone that comes through. And I'm lucky enough, a lot of referrals have come through California, Peter, from your agents there. So I've been extremely honored and thankful for that. But continue to build Vegas, but continue to be the face of Vegas with my amazing support within Saf and Don and other agents here in Vegas. I think we are a small but mighty team in Vegas. I think we have a lot of great growth happening here too, and I want to be part of that. I've been lucky enough to be one of the few agents in the initial when DE came to Vegas. I was super excited when DE was announcing Vegas, and I knew this was going to be my home. So I'm proud to represent DE every day here in Vegas. I think it's just the beginning of what we got going on. We've already had record numbers for our teams here. So we're making noise, and I think it's great. And I think Vegas is a great city for us to be in.
Well, JD, we love having you in Vegas, and thank you for representing Douglas Elliman so well. It's really, really an honor to have you in the company. So thanks for being on the Core Truth, and thanks for everybody for listening and watching the Core Truth. We'll be back again next week for another one. And so I want you guys all to have a great day and a great weekend. Thank you, JD.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it.